Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And just a quick recap, in the previous video we created a sign up API where email ID and password was the input field, and we made a simple check of how the it should act, and if the user already exists it should throw an error, uh, or else it should save the data. In this video we will be expanding that logic and creating a bit more complex and adding a bit more checks in the sign up and making our entire API a bit more stronger. So let's see what all we will be doing in this. So in this video we will be creating an email ID format check that we will be putting in place, and we will be checking the password length and the pattern as well. And on the bonus, I will be telling you two ways to do these particular things. One is the normal and average approach that everyone takes, and the second one is the industry level, that what is currently everyone using, and it's a new development as well. The next will be going, and we will be putting a hashed password check as well. We will be hashing the password and saving it in RDB. So without wasting any more time, let's begin. Yeah, so as you can see in my code, that when we were signing up, I have created a check that is your email ID and validate email ID and password function. In this function, what we are doing is we have created an email regex, which takes the email in a particular format that has to have an at the rate, a dot, and yes, this things in between to verify that whether that's email ID or valid or not. So we have checked this pattern, and in this pattern we are returning whether the email ID format is correct or not. And in the password I have added a lot more security to it, so that the password is minimum 8 characters long. It should have at least one digit, at least one lowercase, and at least one uppercase character, adding a special character as well. So these are all the checks that makes the password a bit more stronger. Okay, so let's have a look at it and run this particular API. So yeah, so this is the previous that thing that we built, that user already exists. Let's check it on a new new email ID, that is the test, and we will make the test a wrong email ID. We know that this is wrong. Let's see how our code behaves. Exactly, the code tells that this is an invalid format of the email ID. Let's correct it to at the rate and remove something else, for example a dot, or yeah, and see again the email ID format is wrong, so it's not proceeding further. Now let's have a check at the password as well. In this password level we are saying that it should be at least 8 characters long. This is not 8 characters long. It does not meet the security requirements that we have. So let's make it a bit more stronger. That is this, and let's have an at the rate as well. So this should technically save the database. Yeah, save it to database, as we can go ahead and check it. Yeah, we'll refresh it, and yes, our test email ID has been added to the database. Now this is just one approach to do the things. I will show you another approach. That's a bit more advanced, and it's a bit more trending in the world. So as you can see that this is, I will just uncomment this code. Yeah, so in this register DTO that is being passed as a request API from the front end, we can put a not blank check, that whether it's a not blank, that it contains certain value, that email ID is required. Then there are other checks as well, that is your format, that is email is a inbuilt annotation as well to be used, and again a not blank, and the size, it should be minimum 8 to 20 characters is a must. And then the pattern as well, that checking whether this thing has the correct pattern. So this is a new approach that can be put in and can be used in this thing, and we will have a look at it and how it works. So this thing will not return it to a proper it will not return the exact command in this one, but we will have a look at it in the console over here. Okay, so let's stop it and rerun it. Yeah, so now it's up and we will have a check at it. Let's give it a bad email ID as yeah. So it sends a bad request parameter and bad request error, and in the console itself you can see the reason for the request, that it has gone bad, that the email format is invalid. So whenever checking, it will definitely go from top to bottom, and it's saying that the email is invalid. So let's correct the email ID and check with the next error. Okay, again it has received a bad request. So we will check again in the console what exactly is the error that has been prompted. And see, the password length must be between 8 to 20 characters long. So this is the first next error that we have gotten, that is for the size that we have put in place. Let's increase the size, but still not satisfy the rest of the situations. Again we have bad request received. And in this thing you can have a look again that the password should contain at least one upper, one lower, and this is the regex that we have provided. Okay, so let's have one @ as well in between and save it. Okay, so right now you can see that it's again been saved. And so this is the second approach that you can put in place, and it's a much more efficient approach and follows a thing that is very used in the industry, that is the dry method, that is do not repeat yourself. So whenever using or creating a new API in a controller, we can just pass this register user DAO in the request parameter, and it will handle all these validations again. And we don't need to copy paste this particular code again and again and create it with a new within a new function again and again. So understood? So this is the two approach, and second one is the greater one and the best one that currently being used. Let's move on to the next thing, that is your encryption of how we will encrypt the password. So I'm using a BCrypt password encoder, and I'm passing it as a bean over here. And yeah, so it's as simple as that. And we will be creating and using and commenting this. So what it's basically doing, it's using the encoder to encode the password in a hashed password format and then saving it to the DB. Okay, so for this bean to be created, you have to create an app configs file, and this will be a configuration, and there should be a bean in it created by the BCrypt password. Okay, so this is when this is done. Let's have a rerun of the application and check again if the password is encrypted or not. And yes, it run. Yeah, so let's check for the email ID 333, and there is a password again, and just send the request. Okay, so it has been successfully saved. Let's have a look at the DB. So now you can see that the password has been encrypted and saved in the DB. So this now makes our application much more secure from vulnerabilities to the DB. Okay, so whenever a password is being saved, it has been hashed, and it can only be unhashed by the application itself. So this is an added layer of security, and definitely can be very useful for anyone building a user authentication portal. Okay, so I hope you guys like this video, and in the next video we will be working on the next API, that will be the signup API, and that will be the login API, and we will be handling a thing known as a very commonly term known as the JWT token in it, and how it will be looking. So stay tuned, and if you like this video, definitely give a thumbs up, and you can definitely subscribe to my channel for my next video, that will be login and the JWT token process.